Oh my god, you guys. Listen, you are not going to believe what is unfolding between Papoose, Remy Ma, and Claressa Shields right now. I know what you were saying, but shut up. I got all the receipts, okay? You do not have to go scrolling through every gossip page on the internet. We are following this one all the way down to the studs, baby, because this mess deserves a deep dive, and nobody else seems to be catching the layers underneath it. Papoose is out here apparently still orbiting his estranged wife like she is the sun, and some folks are saying the boxing champ is the one getting burned by the heat. Now, the thing is, I am not just saying that to be messy. The internet detectives, the comment section scientists, the gossip blog forensic teams, they have been putting the pieces together for weeks, and the picture they are painting is not flattering. Hold on, let me get into it, because there is a whole lot. So here's the thing. People are watching Papoose talk about his estranged wife, watching him reference her, watching him circle back to Remy Ma in interviews, in tweets, in random freestyles, in conversations that did not even start out about her. Critics are going, "Sir, please. Sir, please." Because every time Papoose opens his mouth, her name seems to fall out of it. And meanwhile, Claressa Shields, a woman who has put more gold around her own neck than most jewelers see in a year, is sitting in the splash zone of a conversation critics say is not even hers to be in. Right? Like, baby, you are a generational athlete. Why are we even doing this? Now, I am going to be honest. I love a complicated love triangle. I grew up on soap operas. Soap operas have been canceled. This is the modern-day soap opera, and Papoose, Remy Ma, and Claressa Shields are the leads in a daytime drama nobody officially greenlit. But everybody is watching anyway. The streets are tuning in. The blogs are tuning in. Your auntie who swears she does not watch gossip is tuning in. And I am tuning in too, with a notebook, because the way this story is being framed online tells you everything about who is winning the narrative war. Spoiler, it is not Papoose. And critics are saying it is not Claressa Shields either. The way the algorithm is being kind to Remy Ma right now? Phew. Okay, let us rewind. If you are new to this saga, you might be looking at your screen confused, like, why are these grown adults still going at it like this is high school cafeteria drama? But this is a years-long story. This is layered. This has receipts going back nearly 2 decades. To understand why people are clutching their phones, you have to understand the timeline. So let us break the wheel and rewind to the mid-2000s. Buckle up, baby. Back then, Remy Ma was on a different level. She was building. She was charting. She was on every mixtape, every cypher, every conversation about female MCs who could actually rap. Remy Ma was the moment. And around that same window, Papoose stepped into the room with one of the most talked about record deals of the era. They're saying it was around $1.5 million. That is 1.5 million reasons to expect a long career, a string of hits, a place in the conversation. The blogs back then called him next. The streets co-signed it. The expectation was that Papoose was going to be everywhere, right? But here is where critics start raising their eyebrows. Because she kept stacking. She kept hitting. She kept being the name in the room. And he, with all the buzz attached to him, did not become the chart presence everybody penciled him in to be. By 2007, the label and Papoose reportedly parted ways. That big deal, that 1.5 million headline grabber? Done. Sometimes things just do not work out at a label. I am not saying that to be shady. Industry is the industry. But where it gets messy is that around that same window, his wife walked into a situation that changed her life completely. Now, you know the story. An incident connected to a New York club. A legal situation. By 2008, Remy Ma was looking at a sentence that took her away from the public eye for years. And the way the streets tell it, that is when the ride-or-die chapter of his biography begins. The husband, the visitor, the public face of waiting on his wife. People knew Papoose as much for sticking around as for his rap career. Maybe more. Critics now argue that was an expectation, not a sacrifice. Being there for your wife is what a husband is supposed to do. That is the floor, not the ceiling. So why are we framing the floor like it is the Eiffel Tower? Hold on. There is more. There is more. Because what Remy Ma has alleged over the years, in her own words, is that when she got home, things were not the way they had been described to her. She had been providing. She had been holding things down financially from inside. And when she came back, the empire she thought she was sustaining was not in the shape she had been told it was. Those are her words. And once she said that out loud, the entire framing of the loyal husband while she was away narrative cracked. People started looking at him differently. People started asking different questions. Because if she was the one sending the money out, holding the bills together, keeping the lights on from a place where she could not even Google her own bank account, then who really held who down? Phew. Sit with that for a second. And critics ran with that. Some commenters have been saying for years that Remy Ma carried the weight. Carried it. Not co-signed it. Carried it. And that is one of the reasons why every time he pops his mouth open in 2025, 2026, whenever this is dropping for you, and tries to remind people what he did, the comment section will not let him have it clean. Because everybody remembers what she said. Everybody remembers the story she told. And in the court of public opinion, baby, that story stuck. Now, fast forward. The marriage has gone through whatever it has gone through. I am not in their living room. None of us are. But publicly, the picture has changed. Claressa Shields entered the chat. Now, before we get into how she stepped into this storyline, let me say what I have to say. Claressa Shields is incredible. Period. Two-time Olympic gold medalist. Undisputed champion across multiple weight divisions. A woman who fought her way out of Flint, Michigan, into the global record books. Claressa Shields is the kind of athlete you build statues for. She is in the conversation for the greatest women's boxer of all time. Some people would tell you she is the greatest, full stop. She earned that on her own. Nobody gave her anything but a fight, and she beat the fight, and then she beat the next one, and then she beat the next one. So when her name started getting attached to Papoose in public conversations, a lot of fans went, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Why is this iconic athlete suddenly being dragged into a hip-hop relationship saga that is not even hers? Right? Because she did not need this storyline. She did not need to be a hashtag in a love triangle. The champ had her own machine running, her own brand, her own legacy. And critics are saying, the moment her name got tied to his, the conversation about Claressa Shields shifted. It stopped being about belts. It stopped being about pound-for-pound rankings. It started being about who is the wife, who is the new one, who is number one, who is number two. And honestly, that is a downgrade in headline real estate. You go from being a global sports icon to being a chapter in somebody else's marriage saga. That is not a glow-up. That is a sidestep. Hold on. Let me show you the receipts on this, because I have them. So Claressa Shields, back when she sat down with Papoose for an interview, called him her Superman. Yes, ma'am. She said it like she meant it. The champ said anytime something went wrong, he was right there to help fix it. Now listen, I am all for soft moments. I love love. But critics zoomed in on that Claressa Shields quote like it was a got the scoop screenshot. And they said, sis, the important word in that sentence is not Superman. The important word is present. Because being there when problems happen is not the same as solving them. That is the distinction the comment section locked onto. People were like, okay, he was around. But what did being around actually do? Was he the one fixing the thing? Or was he the one standing nearby while you, an Olympic-level problem solver, fix the thing yourself? Because there is a difference, baby. There is a difference. And then it got messy, Because soon after the public got used to the new pairing, headlines started popping up that had nothing to do with what Claressa Shields wanted her name attached to. There was a testing controversy. A positive result. Headlines flying everywhere. Eventually, the matter got reviewed and reports came back saying she was cleared and the result was not upheld. The cleared part is on the record. But you know how the internet works. The internet remembers the headline. The internet rarely reads the correction. By the time the dust settled, the damage to the news cycle was already done. And critics will tell you part of why those headlines hit so hard was because Claressa Shields was now being looked at through a different lens, a lens shaped by who she was standing next to. Look at who you were standing next to. That is the argument, whether you agree with it or not. Hold on. There is more. There is more. Now, let me bring Remy Ma back into the picture, because she never really left the picture, did she? See, that is the thing. People keep saying she is the past tense in this story. Critics, fans, even some commentators have tried to write her into the rearview mirror chapter of his life. But she keeps showing up in the present. Every time Papoose tries to remind people of his old verses, she drops a new one. Every time he talks about then, she is talking about now. And that, my friends, is the problem with bringing a knife to a chart fight. Because she is still charting. She is still being booked. She is still being talked about. She is still a culture shaper. And in a generation where the algorithm rewards momentum, momentum is everything. Case in point, Remy Ma jumped on a track with French Montana and Max B. Yes, that collaboration. And on that record, she let one line fly that sent the entire internet into a tailspin. Come pick up your clothes. That is the line. Come pick up your clothes. Now, let me tell you what happened in the comment sections when that line landed. People lost it. People absolutely lost it. Because she has been a person in past public conversations who has talked about boxing things up, things being moved out, doors being closed on chapters. So when that line landed on the record, fans heard it like a missile with a return address. They heard it as her not yelling, not screaming, not crying on Instagram Live, but tucking the entire message into a single bar that hit harder than 1,000 subtweets. Was it a shot at Papoose? Was it a shot at Claressa Shields? Was it just clever songwriting drawn from real life? You know what? She did not need to clarify. That is the beauty of her writing. Remy Ma does not have to do a press tour explaining the bar. The bar does the press tour by itself. And every time somebody hears that bar, they think about that situation. That is what a great bar does. It puts the listener in the room. And she put us in the room, baby. We are all standing in the doorway. We are all watching the suitcase go down the steps. We are all watching the clothes get folded up. She did that. Hold on. Because this is where it gets juicy. While she is climbing the conversation with that line, while the streams are stacking, while the playlists are adding her, while the blogs are recapping her verse, what is he doing? In that same moment, he decided to ask people, hey, what is the most legendary verse you can think of? And then Papoose directed traffic back to a verse he did roughly 20 years ago. 20 years. 2 whole decades. Now, baby, the optics on that. Listen, I am not anti-classic. I love a throwback. I will fight you about a song from 1990-something being better than half of what is on the radio today. But there is a difference between somebody else celebrating your old work and you, the artist, pointing back at your own old work and labeling it legendary, while Remy Ma is currently charting in real time with a brand new release. That is not a flex. That is a flag. Critics zoomed in immediately and said, "Sir, why are we still time traveling? Why are we pointing at a trophy from 2 decades ago when there is a whole present moment going on?" And listen, this is the part where the comparisons start to make sense, because Claressa Shields has also, in the eyes of some critics, fallen into a similar trap. There is a read on Claressa Shields where she sometimes appears to be defending, explaining, reacting, addressing, and that energy can crowd out the energy that should be going toward her actual sport, right? Like, when you are the best at what you do, the work talks louder than the tweets. The belts talk. The record talks. The Olympic medals talk. They are talking right now while we are sitting here. So critics say, why give the comment section conversation more oxygen than it deserves? Why feed the speculation? Why drop into the mentions to clap back when the entire boxing world is already on its feet for you? That is the question some observers keep raising. They are not saying she cannot defend herself. They are saying she, of all people, has the receipts in the ring. She does not have to argue them online. Now, I want to be fair. Some of the heat aimed at Claressa Shields is completely unfair. She did not bring this storyline to the public. The public chased it down. The public assembled the story like a got the scoop side-by-side slideshow. So a lot of the criticism she gets is really criticism of the situation around her, not of her. You cannot pull a global icon into a love triangle she did not write the script for and then blame her for the script being bad. But critics will also say Claressa Shields participated in some public commentary that made the situation hotter. They point to certain quotes that, in their view, took small fires and added gasoline. And when you add gasoline to a fire the algorithm is already feeding, the fire goes viral. So even folks who deeply respect her career are going, "Sis, you do not need this storyline. Lock in, train, defend a belt, drop a documentary that has nothing to do with anybody else's marriage. Let your work be the thing in your headline again." That is what supporters are saying behind the criticism. They are not trying to drag her. They are trying to redirect her. Hold on. Let me get into another receipt, because this is the one that lit up the comment sections. Remember the text messages? Yes, those text messages. The ones Remy Ma put out into the universe a while back. Critics keep pointing back to those because, according to what was shared, Claressa Shields was reportedly very interested in maintaining communication with Papoose, asking him to reach out, checking in, staying connected. Now, here's where the timing gets sticky. Critics will tell you that at least some of that contact, at least some of that reaching out, was allegedly happening while his marital status was still in play. Allegedly. And once those messages hit the timeline, the internet did what the internet does. It dissected, it requoted, it threaded, it made graphics, it made memes. And the conversation about Claressa Shields, who again is a literal champion, got hijacked by a conversation about who was texting whom and when. And listen, I am not the judge. I am not the jury. I am one person with a microphone. So I am not going to tell you what those messages mean. But I will tell you what people think they mean, because perception is the currency we are spending in this whole story. Perception. People perceive those messages as Claressa Shields being the one leaning in. And once that perception is out in the wild, even if it is unfair, even if there is context we are missing, it is hard to walk back. The internet does not give refunds. Now hold on. Critics also keep pointing out that there are even public conversations about who is number one and who is number two in his life, when, legally, Papoose is still married. The legal paperwork has not closed the door, so why are we ranking people in his life like it is a fantasy football draft? It is a fair point, because rankings imply a finished game, and that particular game is still on the clock. So when Papoose, or anybody around him, leans into the language of, oh, she is number one, she is the wife now, she is the priority, critics go, hold on, that does not land legally. And it does not land morally for audience members who care about the legal piece. So even if it is meant to be sweet, it ends up feeling like a flex on somebody who is technically still in the room. And Remy Ma is technically still in the room. Anyway, let me give you another beat in this story, because the comment sections are not just talking about the romantic side of this thing. The comment sections are also doing a deep dive on something they are calling the law of association. Now, what does that mean? The law of association is a folk principle people keep applying to celebrities and public figures. The idea is simple. The people you are linked with shape how the public views your choices and your reputation. If your circle is loud, your headlines will be loud. If your circle is calm, your headlines will be calm. If your circle is messy, your headlines will be messy. And critics are using that framework to look at Claressa Shields' recent run of news cycles. They are saying, look, Claressa Shields had a clean, decorated, championship-shaped narrative before the public link to Papoose. After that link, the news cycles around her started to include things that were not about championships. The testing headline, the interpersonal drama, the references to his ex, the text message conversation, the number one or number two debate. Critics will tell you, fair or unfair, that is the law of association in motion. Whether you like it as a theory or not, that is the conversation they are having. And I want to be careful here, because the law of association can be used as a cudgel. So I am not endorsing it as a verdict. I am reporting that this is the lens many people in the comments are using. But you cannot watch this whole story and not notice the volume of background noise around Claressa Shields has increased since this storyline went public. That is just observable. Hold on. There is more. There is so much more. Now let us talk about the supporters of Remy Ma, because they are doing big numbers in the comment war. They are unbothered. They are confident. They are saying Remy Ma built her lane 2 decades ago and never left it. They are saying her catalog speaks. They are saying she has handled this whole circus with more class than anybody had a right to expect. And honestly, looking at it from the outside, yes, she has been pretty unbothered. She is releasing music. She is in the studio. She is laughing on camera. She is not playing tit for tat. And when she does speak, it lands as a bar. Come pick up your clothes. 8 syllables. National news. Meanwhile, on the other end, Papoose's energy in public has, according to critics, looked more reactive, more defensive, more throwback-focused. And the more Papoose reaches back into the past for ammunition, the more the present makes him look like he is fighting a battle that has already moved past him. Critics are blunt about it. They are saying, when the only legendary verse you can name is your own, and the verse you are naming is 20 years old, you are not making the case you think you are making. You are confirming a different case entirely. Ouch, ouch, ouch. And here's the kicker. The bigger criticism the comment sections keep hammering on. Self-praise. Self-praise hits different. Self-praise is the thing critics will not let him forget. Calling your own work legendary, in their view, is not the same as the world calling your work legendary. They are saying respect is supposed to be earned and given by other people, not self-applied like cologne. And the more he insists, the louder that distinction rings. Because if your work is truly legendary, supporters will say it for you. Peers will say it for you. The culture will say it for you. You do not have to grab the microphone, point at yourself, and announce it. Right? Right. So every time he has popped up to remind people what he did, fans have popped up underneath him to remind him that the world is allowed to disagree. Hold on. Let me get into the lineage piece, because this fascinates me. There is a long-standing conversation, going back years, that Papoose, in his public presentation, has at times taken inspiration from Remy Ma. The way folks frame it, the fashion choices people line up, the catchphrases people screenshot side by side, the aesthetics people swear they have seen before, but in her older posts. Critics have made a sport out of this. As soon as Remy Ma does a thing, here comes Papoose with a version of that thing, is the take that has bounced around message boards forever. Now, is it true in every example? Probably not. Sometimes people in the same orbit just dress similarly. But the volume of side-by-sides over the years has been heavy enough that even people who do not follow this closely have heard about it. And what makes the conversation louder is that, in the eyes of critics, Papoose has never really publicly shut down those comparisons. Which, you know, only fuels the speculation more. Because silence, on the internet, almost always reads as confirmation. Listen, the way the internet works now is, if you do not stamp out a narrative, the narrative stamps you, right? So critics are like, every time Papoose declines to address the copycat allegations, every time he lets a new outfit photo go viral with a comparison stitched to it, he is, in their view, letting the conversation grow. That is not a court of law. That is the court of opinion. And in the court of opinion, silence has weight. Now, I want to switch lanes and talk about how a lot of people are framing Claressa Shields. Because I keep seeing the comment sections drag her, hold her responsible for stuff she may not even have done. And I am sitting here going, baby, Claressa Shields is an athlete. Claressa Shields is a champion. She is not a soap opera character. Claressa Shields did not consent to being a punchline in somebody else's relationship documentary. And when the internet decides to make a person into a punchline, the internet does not check in with that person first. So while I think she has made some public moves that have, in the view of some, intensified the scrutiny, I also think a lot of the heat she is taking is being applied unfairly. There is a version of this story where she is just a person who got into a relationship the public was watching way too closely. There is a version of this story where the boxing champ is not the villain. There is a version of this story where she is, frankly, a person caught in a moment that started before she got there and will continue after she leaves it. And that version of the story deserves to be heard too, because if we are going to claim we care about her as the athlete, we have to also leave room for her as the human being. Hold on. There is more. Of course there is more. This story does not stop giving. Let me tell you what I am picking up right now. There is a faction online doing what I call retroactive scrolling. They are going back through Papoose's old timeline, his old interviews, his old quotes, and rereading them with new eyes. And what they are finding, what they say they are finding, is that some of the things he used to be celebrated for are now being questioned. The visit her every week framing? Questioned. The hold her down narrative? Questioned. The faithful husband while she was away storyline? Questioned. People are going back and saying, hold on, was that the full story? Did we accept that framing too easily? Did we give Papoose credit for doing the minimum because the minimum looked rare at the time? These are the kinds of questions that get asked when public perception shifts. And public perception, baby, is shifting. And let me say something else. Critics have been pointing out that some of the most powerful endorsements for Remy Ma right now are not coming from her own mouth. They are coming from third parties. They are coming from peers. They are coming from journalists. They are coming from random people on the timeline who have nothing to gain. That is a powerful position to be in, because when other people are doing your branding for you, you do not have to do it for yourself. And that is the exact opposite of where Papoose is sitting. In the eyes of critics, Papoose is having to do a lot of his own branding. And we already talked about how that goes. Self-praise hits different. Hold on. Let me pump the brakes and remind you what we are watching. You have 3 people, all with public lives, all with serious accomplishments, all with significant fan bases, and one storyline tying them together that has consumed the internet. Remy Ma, the MC. Papoose, the rapper. Claressa Shields, the champion. 3 different lanes, 3 different industries. And yet here we are, lumping them together into one news cycle. That tells you how the algorithm is feeding on this story. Hip-hop fans are clicking. Sports fans are clicking. Gossip fans are clicking. Everybody is clicking. The platforms are getting fed. The blogs are getting fed. And the people inside the storyline are paying for it in real time, in private, in ways the audience does not see. Now back to it, baby. Because the next layer of this whole thing is what I would call the friendship fallout piece. Because comments have been bringing up the claim that Remy Ma and Claressa Shields once had friendly interactions. Some commentators are saying there was a moment in time when they were good. Not best friends, maybe, but not enemies. Cordial, even. And if that is true, then the current public estrangement makes the story way messier than just a romantic triangle. Because now it is also a story about how a relationship between 2 prominent women fractured along the lines of a man who is, again, technically still married. Read that sentence again. That is heavy. That is messy. That is the kind of stuff people build documentaries around. And the comments section is saying, the reason a lot of people are not extending sympathy to Claressa Shields is because they remember the before. They remember the cordial. They remember the photos. They remember the energy. So when the energy flipped, the audience took notes. And again, allegations, opinions, perceptions, not court rulings. But the public conversation online is the engine. The public conversation is what determines whose narrative wins this round. Hold on. Let me give you the receipts on Papoose's positioning, because critics are absolutely picking him apart. The accusation is that Papoose is sending mixed signals. The accusation is that he is doing just enough to keep attention pouring in from multiple directions while never fully closing any door. The accusation is that Papoose, in the eyes of his critics, is benefiting from the ambiguity. Because as long as the storyline keeps churning, his name stays in the cycle. As long as his name stays in the cycle, his interviews keep getting clicks. As long as his interviews keep getting clicks, the headlines around him keep refreshing. So critics are like, sir, are you actually trying to resolve this thing? Or are you trying to ride this wave for as long as the wave will carry you? Now, that is a tough accusation. That is a heavy accusation. And it is an allegation, not a confirmed fact. But the fact that the allegation is even being made by enough people, loud enough, is its own data point. When that many people show up to the same theory, the theory becomes a part of the public record, whether it deserves to be or not. And here is the worst part for Papoose. The longer the ambiguity holds, the more the comparisons to Remy Ma is dropping records, going on shows, laughing on camera, and moving forward. And in the contrast economy of social media, clear always beats ambiguous. Clear always beats hedging. Clear always beats reach back 20 years and call yourself legendary. Right? Right. Listen, this whole story is a masterclass in narrative warfare. Every move every person involved makes gets graded in real time by an audience that has receipts going back almost 2 decades. The internet does not let you have a clean slate. The internet remembers everything. The internet has screenshots from 2007. So the people who win in this environment are the people who understand that consistency is the only true weapon. You cannot brand yourself one way for a decade and then pivot and expect the old brand to disappear. The old brand will follow you. The old brand will live forever as a meme. And Remy Ma, whatever you want to say about Remy Ma, has been the same person publicly for a very long time. Same energy, same approach, same kind of unbothered shrug when the mess flies past her. That consistency is, in itself, a brand. It is the kind of brand that wins long narrative wars. So when critics look at the current chapter and ask, who is winning this round? Most of them are saying Remy Ma. Remy Ma is winning the social media war. She is winning the public opinion war. She is winning the meme war. She is winning the chart war. She is winning the comment section war. And the more Papoose responds, the more Claressa Shields gets dragged into it. The more it feels like Remy Ma's narrative is just outpacing everyone else's. Phew. But here is where I want to be honest, because I do not want to pile on. Claressa Shields can shift this. Claressa Shields absolutely can shift this. She has more raw, undeniable, earned credibility than almost anyone in her sport. The moment she steps back into the ring, takes another belt, breaks another record, does another historic thing, the narrative pendulum will swing in her direction. It will. It has to. Because the receipts Claressa Shields carries in the form of titles cannot be argued away in a comment section. Receipts beat opinions. Always. 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 So my hope, honestly, is that she gets to do that. That Claressa Shields gets to remind the world why her name was on the marquee in the first place. That she gets to deafen the noise with the sound of a glove hitting a bag. Because she deserves a news cycle that is, once again, just about her. And Papoose? Papoose needs to drop something new. New verse. New record. New show. New something. Because right now, the chessboard he is playing on is one that rewards present tense moves, and he keeps spending his turns reaching backward. You cannot win a present tense game with a past tense piece. You just cannot, right? And critics will keep saying it. Critics will keep tagging him. Critics will keep stitching the side-by-sides. Until he comes out with a present tense moment that lands, the conversation will keep being shaped without him. Hold on. Let me wrap these loops up. So here's where we are. Remy Ma is in motion. The husband is in retrospect. The boxing champ is in the crossfire. The internet is the audience, the jury, the judge, and the meme factory. And the algorithm? The algorithm is feasting. Every reaction video, every commentary upload, every side-by-side, every quote tweet, every freestyle, every interview clip is feeding a content engine that has decided this story is currently must-watch. And as long as the story keeps producing new beats, the engine will keep feeding. So all three of these people, whether they like it or not, are characters in a series the audience has decided to keep streaming. And the comments? Oh, the comments are wild right now. I read them so you do not have to, but actually, no, go read them. Go read them because the comment section is where you really see who the audience is rooting for. The comments are full of people quoting Remy Ma's line back at the screen. The comments are full of people calling Papoose out for the legendary verse moment. The comments are full of people asking Claressa Shields to please focus on her career and let this storyline burn out without her. The chorus is leaning a certain direction. Now, before I get off my soapbox, let me say one more thing, because I want to be fair to all three. Papoose has, throughout his career, done things many people have respected. The visits, even reframed as expectation, were still visits. The marriage, even reframed as imbalanced, was still a marriage. I do not want to flatten Papoose down to nothing. People are critiquing him for posture, not for existence. They are critiquing him for energy, not entirety. That is fair criticism, and Papoose can come back from it. Claressa Shields can come back from it too. The champ can use this moment as fuel, lock in, train, dominate, and reframe her own narrative on her own terms. All Claressa Shields needs is one more big moment in her sport, and the public will reorganize the entire conversation around her again. Right? Right. Hold on. One more thing. Because I cannot leave this conversation without giving you the part everybody is asking me about. Where does this thing go from here? Right? That is the question. Every saga needs a next chapter. And honestly, I think the next chapter is shaped by which of these three public figures decides to actually exit the news cycle first. Because the cycle is feeding on the entanglement. Once one person steps back, the cycle loses fuel. So watch closely. Watch who stops responding. Watch who stops engaging. Watch who decides that silence, finally, is the move. Because that person, whoever it is, will be the one who walks out of this story with the most dignity intact. The rest of them will keep being fed into the meme machine. And here is the call I will make. If I had to guess, I think Remy Ma is going to keep doing exactly what she has been doing, because what she has been doing is working. I think Claressa Shields, eventually, will pivot back to her sport because her sport is too valuable to leave on the table for long. And I think Papoose, sooner or later, will either drop something significant in the present tense or quietly fade out of the conversation entirely. Because you cannot sustain a public storyline with throwback receipts. You cannot. You just cannot. So that is the situation. That is the breakdown. That is the receipts laid out. Remy Ma is winning the moment. Papoose is being asked to update his playbook. Claressa Shields is being asked, by her own supporters, to choose her energy more carefully. And the internet is sitting in the cheap seats with popcorn, watching all of this play out in real time, refusing to look away. What do you think? Hit me in the comments. Are you Team Remy Ma? Are you giving Papoose another chance? Are you holding the line for Claressa Shields? Or do you think the whole conversation has gotten so messy you need to step away and let it cook? Tell me, because I read every comment, and I have a feeling this one is going to spark a war down below. Let the debate begin. If you enjoyed this breakdown, if you liked the receipts, please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not already. Hit the little bell so you get a notification every single time I drop a new one. Because there is going to be a next chapter, and I want you in the front row when it lands. Share this video with a friend who has been arguing with you about this exact situation. Send it in the group chat that is split down the middle. And come back here, because as soon as the next move happens, I am going to be on it, with receipts and side-by-sides. Thanks for watching, baby. I will catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there.